Why is Africa poor? Let's see what liberal academics say. Nicholas Christoph from the New York Times. A hodgepodge of ethnic groups within borders drawn arbitrarily by colonial rulers are still struggling to adjust to modern nationhood. Such instability has always been fatal to economic development. Johnson Olaosebikan Aremu, University of Ado Ekiti. Conflicts in Africa may have been caused by a multiplicity of factors, such as arbitrary borders created by the colonial powers, heterogeneous ethnic composition of African states. Refugee problem. One of the attendant effects of wars and conflicts in Africa is the emergence of numerous number of displaced persons who have become refugees in different nations across the continent. Helen Penn, in Unequal Childhoods. The borders of ex-colonial countries are arbitrary, cutting across tribal and ethnic or religious borders, leaving a legacy of unresolved and probably irresolvable disputes. Danis Maganda, in Language and Literature. Political instability due to ethnic conflict, illiteracy, chronic poverty, disease and hunger. Most importantly, the authors identify the principal cause of this instability in the arbitrary borders that Europe forced upon the African states that were irrelevant to the socio-political, economic and cultural traditions of the local people. Max Fisher from the Atlantic Monthly. Europe's arbitrary post-colonial borders left Africans bunched into countries that don't represent their heritage, a contradiction that still troubles them today. David Bigman, in Poverty, Hunger and Democracy in Africa. The problems created by the arbitrarily drawn colonial borders now came into the open, often discussed in the border disputes between tribes that escalate into disputes between countries, violent conflicts and wars. James Fenske, Yale University. Many of Africa's borders were set arbitrarily during the Berlin Conference of 1884-1885. Alencia et al. 2006 demonstrate that artificial states, those with straight-line borders, and particularly those for which major ethnic groups are split amongst multiple countries, have lower GDP per capita today. Engelbert et al. 2002 find that borders that divide African ethnic groups, regardless of their pre-colonial state centralization, are more likely to lead to international disputes. Adesala Adeyemo, University of San Francisco. Cultural and ethnic diversity is undeniably one of the reasons why many African nations are failed states today. Most, if not all, African nations have experienced some sort of cultural clash that has led to ongoing conflicts and xenophobia, which in return has stumped economic and political changes. William Österly and Janina Matuszewski, Harvard University. Artificial states are those in which political borders do not coincide with a division of nationalities desired by the people on the ground. Former colonizers or post-war agreement amongst winners regarding borders have often created monstrosities in which ethnic or religious or linguistic groups were thrown together or separated without any respect for people's aspirations. 80% of Africa's borders follow latitudinal or longitudinal lines, and many scholars believe that such artificial, unnatural borders, which create ethnically fragmented countries, or, conversely, separate into bordering countries the same people, are at the roots of Africa's economic tragedy. Sadia Tuval, in International Organization. The mass incorporation of the diverse cultures under a United States of Africa will provoke one of the most gruesome ethnic and cultural genocides the world would have ever witnessed. Conclusion. According to them, the problem is too much diversity. Poverty and conflict are the result when people of different cultures, races and language are forced to live together.